The school run.
Time for the school run. It's 3:44 and wanted to take a deep dive into a conversation which is ever ongoing. A charity has said families of children with movement disorders risk losing access to life-changing therapy as services are collapsing following chronic underfunding. I wanted to get more of an understanding of this. Now, North London-based charity CPotential supports children and young people with cerebral palsy and also other movement disorders. They have launched the Ticking Clocks Appeal to help raise critical funds. I'm joined live in the studio now with Brett Parker, who's the CEO of CPotential, alongside Emily Farruku. Thank you, both of you, for coming into the show this afternoon. It's lovely to have you both here. Firstly, Brett, if you don't mind, just give me a little bit more context around why you've launched this appeal.
Yeah, good afternoon to you. Thanks for having us on. The reason we've launched the appeal is because charities such as ours are struggling. The services that we offer are vital for young people with movement disorders. We've all know the effects of cost cuts over the last few years, the cost of living crisis. Now imagine a charity. What's happening is that our costs have been increasing as much and if not more than general households, but funding has been cut back. We receive no government funding. Most charities like ours do not receive government funding. We're reliant on fundraising, on people's goodwill to give us money, and it's just not sustainable. So we find ourselves in a critical position coming out of COVID and all the things that have happened.
Yes.
We find ourselves in a critical position by the end of the year of having to maybe cut back services or even close them. Goodness,
that's going to be a real shock, especially to those that receive the services. And I know, Emily, you've come in today to talk a little bit about your experience. Firstly, how has CPotential supported you then?
Yeah, so I would say I started at CPotential when I was 3 years old. I'm now 21, so it's been I've been with the charity for a very long time, and they've supported me through recovery from 2 major surgeries. And I think the biggest thing I would say is I wouldn't be where I am mobility-wise without CPotential.
Tell us a little bit about your health, just for our listeners, just if you're able to paint, a picture just of what you've gone through, your personal journey.
Yeah, so I was born with cerebral palsy, which means that, just to kind of describe what the condition is, means that you have tight muscles, high tension in your muscles. You can get a lot of pain. There's good days and bad days with that, but most of the time you're in a lot of pain, and it's hard to do daily tasks without some help. To lessen that tension in my muscles and to improve my mobility and movement, I did a surgery called SDR, which is selective dorsal rhizotomy, when I was around 9 or 10. And that is a major surgery because they open up your back and cut some nerves that are quote unquote sending the wrong signals to your muscles to try and improve that walking pattern. And because of that, obviously I had to be in a lot of recovery and physio, and CPotential have been a massive part of that recovery. And I wouldn't be on my feet now without them.
And it's quite something, as you say, you're the age of 21, you're a young woman who's gone through so much from a young age, but CPotential have been there every part of that journey. Are you able to just share some of kind of what they've given to you, the support, whether it's been on a daily basis or through those key moments, as you mentioned, like for example when you were 9 years old having your surgery?
So CPotential have been there every step of the way. I can't imagine my life without this charity. They have, again, helped me through recovery physically, but also, and I think their facilities are vital in people improving their balance, people improving their mobility, but not just those things. It's also about confidence and not just doing what you're doing in the sessions with the physios, but having that confidence to do it outside of the sessions, because they're not going to be there all the time. They're not going to be there every single day, So I think they've given me the confidence to have that trust in my mobility skills, even outside of sessions. And I've also made lifelong friends from the charity as well. People that I'm still friends with that I met when I was 4 years old.
How lovely.
And I've grown so much as a person because of the charity, even doing things like this.
Yeah.
That have built my like public speaking skills and confidence, and I wouldn't be who I am without them.
I mean, thank you firstly, Emily, for sharing that. And I can just see from your face for our listeners just how much this charity has meant for you. You've grown with them, essentially, Brett, is what Emily's talking about. Yeah. Emily's story is one of hundreds, if not thousands, especially of young people. All of that support, Brett, that the charity provides, it comes from, as you mentioned earlier on, the donations, doesn't it?
Yeah, so it's donation based. The thing is with it is that it's an expensive service to deliver because the amount of work that you have to put into it is quite intensive in terms of staffing, specialist equipment, etc. And what we realised when we relaunched our centre back in 2020, just before the pandemic actually, because we want to build a holistic centre, because we realise that young people and children like Emily, they need more than just the physios, actually, as Emmy alluded to. You need the confidence, you need the socialisation. Quite often they'll need occupational therapy for upper body movement as well. You need very young children and babies, they need regulation, so you need speech and language. The families need support, they need relationship support, they need financial support, they need support with education. So it's a whole package of things, and this is a long-term prospect that we have to deal with. So we try and work with families for the long term. It's very, very difficult if you don't have long-term funding, because our funding, I frankly don't know where my funding, apart from some really good donors that we've had over the years, I don't know where my funding is coming through from next year. I don't know. Now, I'm trying to run our business. The charities have to run on the basis of being able to pay the rents and the electricity bills and the staff costs, but you don't know where the funding's come. But we say to families, the thing is, Emily, she's still, working with us now, and that's like nearly 20 years.
Yeah.
And there'll be more needed. And funding, when you get over the age of 16, sort of stops completely. Support. So, there isn't any long-term planning. It means everybody runs hands to mouth. You don't get the coordination that's needed. And I think we need as a society to do a lot better.
I can sense, the passion, but also to a certain degree just how difficult and dire this is. How long has CPotential been going as a charitable organisation?
We've been going for over 60 years. Now. We started out as a Peter Rigby Trust many years ago in Hornsey, and different iterations. We rebranded, I think it's 2017 to CPotential, because we thought that was more appropriate to what we are, because the word C potential is we see potential in the children. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And yet with all of that, deep-rooted history of over 6 decades, and the support that you're providing to young children, young people, specifically in London, to then come on air and say, actually, you don't quite know if this charity is going to be able to stay open come the end of the year. How is everyone within the charity feeling about these times at the moment?
I think a lot of people who work within the small charity sector accept that state as being something that's the normal nowadays.
Really?
And it's a shame, because we just have to keep going on and have faith that we'll get through it. And I think that's the norm, actually, for small charities. Most people focus on the large charities, and they understand, the large charities that have quite deep pockets, who do really good work. But smaller charities like ours, which are very, very niche, we frankly, it's very difficult to plan ahead.
And can I ask you, very frankly then, Emily, as Brett's just said there, from the age of 16, that kind of financial support goes for you. How vital has CPotential been in your life to for you to thrive as a young Londoner? As you mentioned earlier on, you've made lifelong friends through CPotential, to go through all of those teenage years right through into being a young woman now at age 21. What has that been like?
Yeah, so, funding, as Brett said, funding goes as soon as you turn 16, because it's seen as like the adulthood phase. And nobody kind of gives you any you're not given any direction from doctors or anyone that you might be, like consultants, anyone, with what to do with a condition like this. And I think for me, I wouldn't have had any direction had I not known CPotential. I wouldn't have had any direction, and I'm not sure I would have kept up with my recovery as well as I have without them, just because whilst it's not an everyday thing, I go there every week. And so I think that repetition with a condition like cerebral palsy is very important. And without it, I don't think I would be able to cope with the dealing with the condition, especially being older and like studying being more demanding, and me going to university. There's not really much time to like cater in for my physical needs as much as I would have when I was little, maybe.
Can I ask you, what is life like for you living in London with cerebral palsy? What has that been like for you in recent years as a young woman?
Yeah, so I think definitely it shifts a lot as the older you get. I think now I'm finding myself comparing myself a lot to other 20-year-olds that are like maybe more physically able, because they can easily go on buses, whereas I need to think about my route and think about, is this accessible? Is this gonna work? Am I gonna be able to get here? How am I gonna be able to get here? So I compare myself a lot in so many different ways, and I think that's shifted from when I was younger, because I didn't used to do that.
Is London as a city accessible for you, living with cerebral palsy, Emily?
No, it's it's just now when I was coming on the train, I didn't know there was gonna be a huge gap from the platform and the train that we were on, and I was like, it's Bond Street, like it should be accessible, there should be no gap and it should be easy for wheelchair users to come out of the train, but it's not. And it's strange because it's such a well-known station. Like, a lot of people use Bond Street, but I'm like, this is the reality of our world today. And I think, that's why the campaign is so powerful, because it really is doors closing. If CPotential closes down, what more do we have left?
How does it make you feel?
It makes me feel really anxious, to be honest, because not just for myself, but for so many other people that use the services that CPotential provide. What will they do? Even like people that are young, like I see very young children come through the doors of CPotential. How are they gonna like go through the developmental stages without the recovery in place and the physical support in place and all the services that CPotential provide, because it's not just one type of service.
Sure. Can I ask you just finally, and thank you firstly for just sharing, how you feel and what it's like for you. I suspect you must speak to your friends about this, but do you feel that as Londoners, we see you, that you are visible when you're on public transport, when you are, as you just mentioned, going to university, living your life as many students do? What is that experience like for you in London, Emily?
I would say, I think the pro that I have, I guess, is that my disability is visible. A lot of disabilities aren't. But that being said, that doesn't necessarily mean that people see me and see the struggles that I have with going on public transport, managing anything in my daily life in terms of travel, studying, whatever it can be, and I think a lot of people that don't have a disability turn a blind eye to these things, so they don't think about what it could be like to live with a disability.
It's so important that we hear from all different aspects, and I really want to say thank you to you for coming in clearly on what has been a bit of a tumultuous journey even to get here today, and it shouldn't be. It should be a smooth process for anyone to travel around London. But I'm going to give you the final say, if that's all right, Brett. how can people, if firstly they may not have heard of CPotential, even with its 60-year history, deep-rooted history in London, as a charitable organisation. The appeal is called Ticking Clocks Appeal, to really raise the critical funds, as you've said, to keep this charity going. How can people get more details?
If you look at Just Giving and put in Ticking Clocks campaign, that will tell you everything about it. Go to our website, which is cpotential.org.uk. There's lots of things people can do to get involved with.
Okay, such as?
You can do challenges, that could last a minute or a day, or based around time. There's lots of fun activities for companies to get involved with. If you're trying to achieve a certain target at work and you want to encourage your workforce, then you can hook yourself in with that. Plans for schools to get. We've got a lot of exciting campaigns, or you can just donate. Every bit helps. And you talked about being anxious. I have a sense of puzzlement why a society has one of the best cities in the world that people can't get around, but also we can't fund this type of vital work. It's a sense of puzzlement for me. It's not a political point. It's just a genuine sense of puzzlement that as humans, that we are. And not just our charity, but other charities doing the vital work like we are, that are just scrabbling around to do this work. It's just strange because the money's there. We know the money's there.
Thank you for coming in. Will you please come in again? I'd like to follow the journey on how things go, Emily and Brett. I genuinely mean that. So please come back in the coming months and let's find out how this goes. And thank you both of you for just talking so openly. Emily, Brett, pleasure having you here on BBC Radio London. I want to give the website details as well. It's C, as in the letter C, potential.org.uk. And as Brett was saying just earlier, if you'd like details to support the fundraiser, it's Ticking Clocks Appeal, and you can just type that into Just Giving, is it? Sorry,
Just Giving,
Just Giving, and you can get all the details there. Best thing to do, I'm on their website right now, cpotential.org.uk. All information is there. Again, big thank you to Brett and to Emily. Now, we asked the Department of Work and Pensions for comment, and they've sent us this statement, which I am going to read now. We will never compromise on protecting people who need our support. Our reforms put the welfare system on a more sustainable footing, so the safety net will always be there for those who need it most. That's a statement provided from Department of Work and Pensions. Big thank you to Brett Parker, CEO of CPotential, and also to Emily Farruku for coming into the studio this afternoon. If you've got thoughts on what they've been discussing, 0800 731 2000 is the number to give me a call. Time now is 4:01. Let's get the news headlines on BBC Radio London with Will Schindler.
On the BBC Sounds app, on your smart